guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today's video is a video that's been requested so many times on what specific drawing supplies you need to start out without blowing your budget out of proportion. Doing color pencil drawings as a hobby can become quite expensive because you've got so many papers to look at, you've got so many types of pencils to choose from, you've got so many blending techniques to pick from, you just have so many things that you need to think of and pick from that it can be difficult to know where to start. So I've decided to make a budget list of the must-have drawing supplies that you need to get started for $100, and this is pretty much the things that you'll be using forever. And then if you decide that you really want to get into colored pencil drawings and you enjoy it, then you can upgrade on more pencils later on and get the bigger sets. But the first thing that you will need is the Faber-Castell Polychromos set, and all you need is the set of 24, which looks like this. So it's 24 Faber-Castell Polychromos set pencils, and these are oil-based pencils. So these have a harder core and they mix very well with your wax-based pencils. So all you need is 24 colors, and the reason I say to have this set instead of the smaller set is because it just has a good range of colors and you can do so much with this set. So I'm going to put a little card up here on the screen which will direct you to a color wheel tutorial that I have made available to everybody on YouTube, and that tutorial is going to show you how to create the entire color spectrum color wheel with just 16 colors out of the set, and you can obviously do the same for your Prismacolor pencils as well. And I think it's a very great exercise to practice when you are starting off in colored pencils, because it shows you what your pencils are capable of and it shows you how to get such a huge variety of color with a minimal amount of pencils. So that's the oil-based pencil set that I suggest that you get, and you can get this in the US for about $38. So I found the main US supplier that I like to use is Cheap Joe's. So they are located in the US, and if I can't find the product in Australia because Australia is so expensive, it's cheaper for me a lot of the times to get things from Cheap Joe's art supplies and just get it sent over here, and I'm still going to save a heap of money. So that is $38.70 that you can get this set for at cheapjoes.com. I'll put all those links on that in the description below so that you know where to find it as well. So I haven't found an Australian supplier that beats that price, so I would recommend, if you are in Australia, to still outsource international places, not just look in Australia, because you'll probably get it cheaper somewhere else. So the wax-based pencil set that I recommend that you get is the Prismacolor 24 set. Prismacolors are my favorite pencils. They have had a lot of reviews where manufacturing has been an issue and a lot of the pencils break and things like that. But I find that now for the price, it's kind of worth what you're getting because they've reduced the price so much. These used to be one of the most expensive pencils that you could get on the market, and right now they are far less than the Faber-Castell Polychromos pencils. So I think it's worth what you're getting for, and the color range is so huge that it costs you $1.80 to replace a pencil like that, and instead of $4 to $5 for the other kinds of pencils that are a good quality. So I would rather replace these pencils, and they're readily available in Australia and the US, than have to try and get the more expensive pencils replaced. So that's why I'm still happy to use the Prismacolor pencils. Also, wax-based pencils are the best pencils to use when mixing with your oil-based colored pencils, and the layering process is wonderful. And the best part about layering with wax over oil is that you can layer light colors over dark oil colors. So that's one of the main things that I use the Prismas for, is when I'm layering with all my colored pencils, I make sure that the final lighter layers are going to be the wax-based pencils, because they still give you the room to put lighter colors over darker colors, whereas if you just use oil-based pencils you wouldn't be able to do that. So So those are the colored pencils that you'll need to start out. And to get a set like this is $26.99 in the US, also from Cheap Joe's. They are very expensive here in Australia, so I would also recommend getting this internationally shipped to Australia if you're in Australia. If you're in the US, then you'll probably find a few different places. I know Dick Blick is quite popular over there, so I'm not sure what their prices are like, but shipping wise, internationally Cheap Joe's has been the best for me, so that is probably why I would talk more about them anyways. The third most important thing is your drawing paper. So paper has been a huge talking topic and question topic with my patrons and followers, because the paper that I like to use in Australia isn't really easy to get your hands on in the US, and the paper that a lot of the colored pencil artists use in the US, I cannot get it in Australia unless I'm willing to pay 3 times the amount of the paper just for shipping to get it over here, which I'm not willing to do. So I'm going to tell you what I can get in Australia. So my favorite paper, the ultimate paper, is the Arches watercolor paper, and it is a 185 GSM smooth paper. This paper is so good with absorbing liquids like solvents and also keeping a very nice straight form. It also has the perfect texture. It's very smooth but not 100% smooth, and it allows you to layer many colors and you don't have to worry about damaging your paper. It's very tolerant of your color and it looks beautiful and it feels beautiful, and out of all the papers I've tried, this is still by far my favorite paper. So you can get them in different size pads. My most common size drawings are usually on this, which is A3, which is 297 by 420 mils, or 12 by 16 inches, I think. So this is my most common one, but I have the pad that's one bigger, A2, and then I have the smaller ones as well, depending on the size drawing that I will be doing. For those in the US that are looking for paper, I would suggest the Fabriano Artistico Cold Press 16 by 20 inch 140 pound 300 GSM paper. The reason I say this is because a very great artist named Lisa Clough, so she's from LaCreFineArt.com, so I'll put her channel up here. She uses this paper and she is a fantastic colored pencil artist, so I'm pretty sure she knows what she's talking about. So I will definitely trust what she says and go with that paper for those that are located in the US. And then to get that paper, 10 sheets of paper, that paper is going to cost $20 US. And then for those in Australia, 10 sheets of the Arches watercolor paper is going to cost you $32. So it is quite expensive, but a good quality paper helps make a very good quality drawing, and it just makes the whole process a lot easier when you're using such a good paper. The next thing, solvents. So I like to use Odorless solvent to blend. And again, what you get in Australia and what you get in the US may be different. So in Australia, or my favorite solvent that is easily available within Australia, is called the Art Spectrum Odorless solvent. So I use this solvent to blend my colors. So the minute I blend with the solvent, it brings the pigment of the color pencil out of your paper and makes it so much brighter, and it takes away that crayon texture of the colored pencil as well. And that way your drawing starts looking very smooth, the colors start blending together, and it allows you room to layer more and more on top because you're not affecting the tooth of the paper. So that is why I like using this solvent. For those that want to get the solvent in the US, again, Lisa Clough, she's a great artist, she knows what she's talking about. She recommends using the Mona Lisa odorless solvent. It's non-toxic and obviously it doesn't have an odor. Same with the Art Spectrum odorless solvent, and that is available for $10.47 in the US, and that's for 236 mils. And then if you want to get the Art Spectrum odorless solvent in Australia, that's going to cost around about $17 for 500 mils, so it's a bit cheaper. And then finally, blending brushes. So I like to use Taklon brushes, and you can use whatever size and whatever style you like to blend your your layers of color that you've put down with your colored pencils. So these brushes are firm, so you want to make sure that they're nice firm brushes, and depending on how big the area is that you're blending will depend on the size brush that you use. But I would recommend getting number 2, number 4, and number 6, and those are probably the most common color brush sizes you would use, unless you're using a huge area, which you wouldn't really use with colored pencils unless you're adding painting, and then that's a whole different story. But 2, 4, and 6 is about the only size brushes that you would need in the Taklon brushes. And really, it doesn't matter what brushes you can use. You can use whatever brushes you want. There is no real method. So you can get the cheapest brushes on the market. It will still work for what you're doing. And if the hair comes out, it's okay, because you can just wipe it off when everything's dry. So it's not a big issue like it is with painting. So those brushes, I will put a recommendation of sizes and like a set that I would also recommend from Cheap Joe's. So it's called the Synthetic Taklon Brushes set, and you can get that for $8.59 for a set of 7 sizes. So that's really, really good. So that is what I would recommend for starting off. I'm sure you can bring those prices down a little bit more depending on the amount of paper that you're buying or shipping fees and things like that. It might also vary by a few dollars extra depending on shipping as well, so just keep that in mind. But that is roughly what you're going to pay for very good quality items. So none of these items that I have suggested are bad quality items at all. These are the items or the supplies that I use all the time for colored pencils. I just have the bigger sets. The paper, I always use that paper, and because you can buy them in sheets of 10 or 15 in a pad, the paper lasts you ages, because that's a whole 15 drawings, or let's say 12 drawings that you can get out of a pad of 15 sheets, and in case you damage 3 sheets of paper. So it's really worth it if you break it down to 1 sheet worth of cost and what you're putting on it, and creating good quality drawings with good quality pencils and blending it with solvent so that you can get a good amount of layers, which adds to the realism. And I can go on and on about how good these supplies are. But if you have these, you can get all these supplies, or you can get all the same sort of supplies for $20 if you want, but you are going to get bad quality pencils, because the cheapest on the market isn't necessarily the best. So this is quality and budget and everything that I use to this day in all my drawings. So I hope that you guys find this useful. I will put all the links to what I just described in this video in the post below. Thank you, Lisa, for all your suggestions on the type of supplies that you mainly use in the US. I'll actually link her video where she talks about her recommended drawing supplies, and you guys can check that out, because if you're in the US, it'll be easier for you to get those supplies, and in Australia I just gave you the recommendations that I have. And then also, just for those other followers that are in Australia as well, my main art supplier that I adore and love and will use whenever they have the products that I'm looking for is Eckersley's. Eckersley's, the service and the quality and everything that they supply is 100%, 1000% amazing. So they always post within 3 or 4 days, and they interstate. So when I move down there, hopefully I'll get it even quicker. But they're so fast with their postage, and they're very, very good with their service, and they always have a lot of what I'm looking for. They are a little bit more expensive, but I find if you have an art business, then you will save money with them, because they will give you an account. But they are amazing, amazing, amazing suppliers for those that are looking for art supplies that are quite difficult to find a lot of the time. Otherwise, just go to Eckersley. So I'll put that link in the description as well. Okay, so all you need is your oil pencils, your wax pencils, your paper, your brushes, and your solvent. You just need those 5 supplies to be able to do a good quality color pencil drawing. And for those that are starting out, I recommend that you try the tutorial with the color wheel, and do that with your Faber-Castell pencils, and you can do the same with your Prismacolor pencils as well if you want to get more of a feel for your wax-based pencils. This tutorial will also take you through some of the blending techniques and that, so you're gonna learn all of that within the same amount of time. So I really recommend you do that if you're starting out, because it's gonna show you and teach you a lot. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys soon. Bye!